Hi everyone, it's Gwen from Rustic Diva Design, and I'm here to give you a tutorial on how I made this 6x6 baby girl mini album with the L hinge. So the video I posted about a week ago is the walkthrough video of this album. And I showed you, the L hinge inside and the pages and such, and I went through that. So you can check out that walkthrough, or I'll link it in this video tutorial. I'm probably going to do the tutorial in more than one part. So I have a few things already prepped and ready to go so that it doesn't take so long. So we're making the same size album as this one here, a 6x6 with a 2.5-inch spine. But today I'm using the Welcome Baby Boy paper collection instead of the baby girl. So I'm using, I have the 12x12 paper pack, paper collection, and I also have the 6x6 paper pads. And again, this is a project using scraps. So I've made a baby boy album before, so I don't have all the papers left in here, but I'm going to show you how I went through and used some scraps and just use pieces of things to make it work, and things that fit together. So here we go. Do you think we can make it through a video with no bloopers? I doubt it. Okay, but hopefully. Okay, so first of all, let me show you the cover. And I already did the cover. This is the lay flat cover method that Tamra from Country Craft Creations created. So I already made the cover. I'll give you the dimensions for the chipboard and the paper. So first of all, to make the cover, you need 2 pieces of chipboard that are 6x6 for the front cover and the back cover, and then the spine. You need 1 piece of chipboard that is 2.5 by 6. Okay, and then you're going to, if you're going to do the lay flat cover method like I do, and it's super easy. This is the only way I do covers now. The dimensions for the solid cardstock to wrap your chipboard, you need 2 pieces of 8x8 and 1 piece of 8x5.5, and that's for the spine. So 8x8, 8x8, and 8x5.5, and then you're going to wrap these and glue them together this way, like this. And then in the inside, to cover the spine piece, to make a sturdy spine here, and so you don't get bubbling and all this other stuff, this piece of paper, piece of solid cardstock is 6x5 and 15/16. So what I did, because I like my paper to go almost all the way to the bottom here, okay? So I'll get it as close as I can get it without making it look silly. But, and just so you know, when I do this piece here, this is all score tape. So I use a 6x6 score tape sheet. I cut it down to make it fit the paper, and then I've just put this piece on, and then you're creasing as you're folding, and then you've got no bubbles at all, so it's lovely. Okay, so there is the cover. Now we're gonna start with the inside cover, because I'll just show you in this album we started with a flap and a pocket. So let's start with those and see how this goes. So I have my materials here that I am just going to bring over, and like I said, I did prep some of these things, I'm going to get this out of the way because we don't need our scoreboard at the moment. Well, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Hold on. So let me show you for the flap. We're going to use a magnet. We're going to use a tab. If you watched my walkthrough video, you notice I said that I forgot to do some double matting. I remembered to do that this time. So all is well. So the flap for the inside cover measures, this is a piece of solid cardstock just to make your flap, is 4 3/4 by 5 7/8. So at the 4 3/4 side at the top of your scoreboard, you're going to score at 1/2. And this is just to make your fold for the flap. Okay? So I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to fold this with you. Let me set this aside. I'm trying so hard to stay in camera. So you just fold that down and burnish. And then before we glue it, I'm going to miter the corners here. So just cutting off just a little smidge on the corner. Okay. And this is the flap that's going to glue to the left side of the front cover. So we want to put that down before we put any pattern paper down so that your flap is covered. And you'll notice, can you see? I have an X right here because we're going to put a magnet there, and that's going to remind me to do that before we glue any of the paper down. Again, oh, my dog is here. You guys, he loves to come and help me when I am doing videos. So that's his jingly collar in the background, and he's, you know, making some noise, but here he is. So let's glue this on. I'm just putting the pin in my glue so it doesn't get all over. And you know, you're going to center it top to bottom. It's pretty close to the cover size, but again, in these situations, I like to just eyeball. And I am getting almost to the edge of the cover, the front cover, not quite. Just so that it leaves you some room when you're opening it and it's not sticking out. Okay, again, wiggly table. I am sorry. My apologies. This is not my normal craft area, as I've said before. So we have a little wiggle. Okay, so we're just burnishing that down to get the glue to stick. And there you have your flap. Done. First thing. Okay, now the mat for the front of the flap, I used a cut apart from the collection. So depending on what you're putting here, but these are the dimensions, okay? So the white mat for this flap is 4 1/8 by 5 3/4. So 4 1/8 by 5 3/4. And then either pattern paper or the cut apart is 4 by 5 5/8. I'm sorry. Yep, 4 by 5 5/8. Okay. Now also, I wanted to, in my other album, the girl album, I wanted to do more of these tabs, and I forgot to do it in some places. So I'm going to do it now. So before I glue the mat down, I want to add this tab, and I'm going to add it like this underneath. And I, again, am just going to eyeball. So here we go. Leave that here, get my glue. So we're just gluing this on, and I wanted to show you how I do some of these things so that you can do them too. Stick your finger in the glue first, though. Make a mess. Okay, so just turn this and eyeball it. Can you see? Okay. Like right about here. You can use your ruler if you want to get it like perfect. I'm just going to move this up just a little. Slide it. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay. And I don't want my tabs to stick out too far so they don't hinder. Okay, so and you're not going to see the back because it's going to be matted down to the flap. So there we have it. There's the flap. Just making sure that's glued well before we go on. Okay. And that's what it's going to look like. Sometimes I need a little white background to see where I am on these darker papers, so you can just do something like that. Okay, so let's glue this down to the flap. Just watching that edge there with the tab. Watching someone glue on a tutorial is like the most boring part ever. I get it. I feel it. I feel the same. Okay, so now just placing this on here, lining things up so it's even. And just lift that up if you need, and then move that, and here we are. Glue this down. And burnish that. I'm going to burnish that pretty good where that tab is. I got a little glue sticking out, so you know, use your fingernail. I always do it. There we are. Okay, we have our flap on the front cover, matted on the front. And then we're going to mat the back, but we're also going to put a magnet down. So when I put magnets down, I like to make sure that when I place them, depending on the size of your paper and where it's going, I want to make sure that that magnet is in far enough to where your pattern paper is going to cover it and not tear or hinder anything. So I have marked it right here, but I'm going to put it in a little different spot. Close, but not quite. So we're going to take the backing off the magnet. Yep, we are. Oh my goodness. Sometimes fingernails are not my friend. Okay, so there we have the plus side. And I'm just going to put that right about here and press that down. And then take the other backing off. And then you just close and press it down. And it sticks. And there's your magnets. And again, just to secure, I like to use a little bit of score tape on top of my magnets. Just like this. And like that. You could do it this way, you could do it that, however you want to do it, it doesn't matter. Okay? And just burnish that a little to make sure it sticks. Okay, next is the mat for the back of your flap. Before I glued these down, I also inked my edges with the Tim Holtz Black Soot. That's the color I used. I used the same color in the Baby Girl album too. So let's make sure I'm in frame here. Better, a little bit better. Okay, so now our magnet's down, and we can put this mat on the back of our flap. Let's see, so that is, the white mat is 4 1/8 by 5 3/4. And then the pattern paper is 4 by 5 5/8. So before we glue, we gotta take the backing off of our score tape. And my glue is just, it's running out, so it's, you know, you gotta shake it a little to get it to come out. Okay. And then again, just lining things up. So that you're not on the fold line, so as not to hinder the closure. And there's that and that, and press it down. And our magnet is under there. Okay, there, our flap is finished. So now for the inside of the front cover also, we are going to have a mat and a pocket. So here's a little tip. This is what I like to do. Because we have a pocket, I'll show, I have all the score marks and everything. So the pocket's gonna be like this. Well, that means we don't have to cut our pattern paper all the way down to the bottom of our cover. We can save our pattern paper. So I'm gonna give you my dimensions on how I do this too. So first, let's prepare the pocket. So let's see. The pocket is a piece of solid cardstock that measures 2.5 by 6 7/8, and then you're going to score it on 3 sides. So let's grab the scoreboard quick with the 6 7/8 side at the top, or however you want to start it. 1/2 inch, turn and score. Let me move this. 1/2 inch, and again turn and score 1/2 inch. Okay, get this out of the way, and then we're gonna fold on our score lines to make our pocket. And this is how I learned how to make pockets with the gussets. Is that what they're called? Yes, I don't know. Yes. So we're just folding and folding here. Okay, so we have all of our score marks folded, and then we're gonna notch out the corners here just by cutting, oops, there we are, cutting at an angle up to that score line and then turning and just cutting that out. And then the same on the other side, cutting at an angle and then turning your paper and cutting at an angle. Then we get rid of some of that bulk. So then we're going to, and I do this, you could use score tape, you could use glue, But on my pockets, before I glue them in, I like to just put a little dab of glue on the flaps and close them up like this. Now, because you don't have a lot of paper to work with, I hold it for a little bit to make sure that glue catches. And then wipe off your excess. I did bring a towel like this, and you're not going to see that inside anyway, so it's okay. And then I just kind of burnish it down. Oh, you guys, I do this all the time when I'm making my pockets. I'm like, oh, here I am showing you how to make a pocket, and then I do it wrong. So I meant to trim a piece off of this top corner, so we're gonna just make it work after it's already glued. I've done this before because I've forgot to do it. So just take a smidge off the top. Let me get this in here. There we are. Look at, no one even knows. See, bloopers already. That didn't take long. So now we have our pocket. That's going to glue to the bottom of your page like so, and I measure mine so that it's not going to hinder the flap or the fold in the spine. So before I put my pocket down, I'm going to put this mat down, and that's going to look like this. I like to dry fit. Are you guys dry fitters? Do you like to dry fit things before you glue? You can only glue one. Well, you can glue more than once, but it's messy. Okay, so the mat for the inside of the front cover, the white mat is 4.5 by 5 7/8, and the pattern paper is 4 3/8 by 5 3/4. Okay. So just getting so I can see a little bit, I'm going to take this off. Maybe. Okay. And then gluing. I still have glitter on my table down here from when I did an unboxing video. Can you see it on here? Yep, right there. From a mystery box I bought, like, I think it was Black Friday or something, and there was a ton of glitter all over from one of the products that I received. Oof, it was messy. Okay, so just matting on here. And make sure it's as straight as you can get it to your liking. And then just burnishing that down. Am I getting my head in the camera? Sorry. Okay, we got a little glue popping out there, but that's okay, because look, ta-da, it's all gone. Okay, there, that's down. And you can either mat your pocket before you glue it or after, either one. I usually just glue it and then put the mat on, because I like to see the edges are right to the edge of the pocket is at the right to the edge of the white mat. So for me, it's just easier to see it. So let's glue this pocket in. And I am just lining it up with the bottom and the, like I said, the edge of the white paper. And I'm going almost to the bottom, not quite, but just about pretty close. So just to leave that little gap. so it's not sticking out when the album is closed. And then we're going to burnish this down really well. Get that stuck down in there good. Okay, and then the mat. The mat for the pocket, the white mat is 1 7/8 by 5 3/4. And then the pattern paper is 1 3/4 by 5 5/8. So now just gluing this down. Like so. You could get fancy with your pocket and put a little notch in there. I do that sometimes. I didn't want to this time because sometimes I don't feel like doing that. So it's pretty the way it is. Okay. There we have the inside cover of our album. Look at you guys. Look at how cute so far. Okay, so let's grab the other album just to compare what we've done so far. Make sure I didn't screw anything up. Yep, so we have our flap, and this one has the flap without the tab because I forgot it. And this album I pieced. I just used scrap pieces because this paper wasn't long enough, so I just pieced a little piece down there. This one I didn't have to because I had enough of this blue. And then there's our pocket, just like this one. Okay. All right, now let's get into the first page. Now the pages are the L, made like the L hinge style. I don't know what else to call them. That's what I've heard other people call them, I guess. Or I say the page with the extra 1/2 inch on the left-hand side. That's a lot to say. But this is what we're going to start with. So this book has page 1 is just a regular page with a pocket. And this is all one sheet of paper, so I'll give you all the dimensions here on the page 1. So let me grab my scoreboard. And page 1 has all of these things. So, and I don't want to screw anything up, so hold on here. Let me set that aside. This is for the other side. So set that here. Okay, so this is our first page. Page 1, here are the dimensions. So you need a piece of solid cardstock that measures 5.5 by 8. And we're going to score at 1/2 and at 6 because we're making that little pocket, okay? And all in one sheet. So score at 1/2 and 6 on the 8-inch side. Okay, so let me get rid of the scoreboard. Now when I'm doing my pages, even though I don't glue down until I'm done decorating. So I decorate the pages and then I put them in the book. You could do either way. So you could decorate, or I'm sorry, you could put the pages in and then decorate, however you want to do it. But this is how I do it. So like I said, even though I'm not putting these in till later, I'm still folding on that 1/2 inch score line that's going to get glued down to the spine, because that is my guide. Okay, so here's your, this piece right here is going to get glued to the spine like that. Okay, So hold on, let's not get too excited. So then at your 6-inch score, we're going to fold this up to make our pocket. And we're not going to glue it until we get our pattern paper down. Okay, so here's page 1. And all of your pages measure 5.5 by 5.5 after you do all of your scoring and folding. 5.5, and then this will be 5.5. Okay? So in this album, the girl album, I had mentioned that I used cut-aparts as mats and just some scrap pieces of pattern paper to make the mat here. So I'm going to show you how I did that with this page with the pocket. Okay, so you have 4x4 cut-aparts in a lot of the collections. You don't have to do it this way, but if you're wondering how I did it with the 4x4 cut-aparts, this is how. Okay, so I just measured the white mat because I need the mat anyway, but because we don't have to go all the way to the edge because we have the pocket, again, we're saving paper. Okay, and these 4x4 cut-aparts work perfectly for that. So the white mat that I'm using here is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. This is a 4x4 cut apart, and then this is just an extra piece of whatever I could find that went cute, whatever that matched. But if you want the mat, the full mat for the white, the pattern paper would be 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Let me just move this so I can get these glued down. So again, the 4x4 cut apart, ink the edges already, and then I'm just going to glue the cut apart to, yeah, and then the glue does it. The glue does it. It's not coming out. Sorry. Hang on. Okay, get it going. See, this is why I do tutorials in like many parts, because something always happens. Okay, so I'm just gluing this to the top of the white mat, giving it a border like you would your pattern paper. Making sure things are even and just gluing that down. Okay, when I use, remember I said I ink my edges? So because I am not, I'm making this kind of look like one sheet. When I add this extra sheet of paper, I only ink these 3 edges when I'm gluing these together, not the top, because I don't want that. I don't know, is that weird? You can ink it if you want to, but I just didn't want to because I wanted to make it look like it was all together. So, and you could make this into a pocket if you wanted, but I'm just making it one solid mat. Okay, and then I'm just cutting, or I'm just lining this up with my cut apart as close as you can get it. Sometimes we wiggle things around a little bit. And there we go. That's a little crooked. That's okay. It's okay. Can you see that it's crooked? No one will know. Okay, so we have our mat for page 1. And it's going to go in just like that. So I'm going to glue that down. Just making sure that I didn't have to do anything extra because I am forgetful. And honestly, I think this is like my second tutorial, you guys. I think so. I had to get brave, really brave, to be able to do these. So, come on, glue. Hold on out. Hold out till we get through it. Okay, so you can fold this back to get it out of your way. I'm leaving this folded down on this side because I need to see that edge, and that's how I want to do it. You can unfold it if you need to. It doesn't matter. Whatever works for you. So now we're just matting here. Excuse me. And get this little bit of glue. So here's our mat. And now we have our pocket that's going to go just like this, and everything works out perfectly. So just burnishing this down, and I'm going to glue the edges. Am I in camera? Yes. Glue the edges. To make our pocket. Just fold. Press that down, and the glue is going to squirt out, but that's okay. And here. So a lot of times with these pockets, if you're gluing towards the edge of a mat, the glue, I always use my fingers to get that glue in that little crease in between the papers so that it sticks good and it's going to come out. But that's okay. This glue dries clear. And there's some here, but that's all right. And on this side, just giving it a squeeze. There we go. There's our pocket. Now we're going to mat this pocket. And the mat for the pocket, the white is 1 7/8 by 5 3/8. And the pattern paper is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. Is that right? Let me see. Yes. 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And that's going to go just like that. I'm just going to turn it so that I can see when I'm gluing. I hope I don't run out of glue before I'm like to a point where I need to stop, or I'll have to stop before that. That's not good. And then glue this down. Okay, page 1, finished. Okay, so that's gonna look just like that. And when I'm doing my papers, I'm kind of trying to mirror, obviously. You don't have to do that, but I decided to do that with this album and the girl album. Okay, so that's page 1. Page 2 is on the opposite side. That's what I'm calling page 2. And in the girl album, we have a mat and a belly band and a tag. So that's what we're going to do next for page 2. So for your photo or for your mat, you're just matting it on the page. So let's bring this down here. And that's just gonna go like this. I'm gonna get this out of the way so that I can see my fold line when I'm gluing, like that. Okay. Now, when you do a belly band, some people do the belly band first and then add the pattern paper. To me, it doesn't matter. I can't see the, you know, the folds or the whatever. I just do it afterwards. So this is what I'm showing you. You can do it either way. So first, let's get our mat for page 2. The white mat is 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. And then the pattern paper is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And again, I just put this together already. And we're gonna glue this down. For our mat. And just watching the fold here on the right hand side. I'm just using that as a guide as well. And then, you know, you're eyeballing it to make it fit. And there we go. Okay, to make the belly band, you need a piece of solid cardstock that is 1 1/2 by 6 3/8. And then on each end of your belly band, you score at 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. So 1/2 and turn it and score at 1/2. Okay. And then fold on your score lines. And then before I glue mine down, got a little glue on there from my hands. I'm just gonna miter these edges just a little. Okay. And get those down. So on our page, the belly band is going to sit like this to the edge of the white mat. That's how I made mine. If you want to go farther down, you know, to the blue solid cardstock, to the blue page, you can do that. But that's where mine's going to sit. And now we're going to glue this. So right at on your tabs. And again, I'm eyeballing it just to put it in the center of the paper, which I was kind of sad because after I was putting this together, I was like, oh, this whole thing, this little cute little moon face is going to get covered up, but oh well. Okay, so give me a second while I just move this a little so I can see the top. And is my head in your way? I'm sorry. Slide that over and there you go. Belly band on here. Just burnishing this down. That was easy. Okay, and then I made the mat for the belly band. It is, let's see, the white mat is 1 3/8 by 5 1/4, and the pattern paper is 1 1/4 by 5 1/8. Okay, so that's gonna look just like this when we glue it down. Okay, so let's get some glue on there. Sorry, you guys, for this gluing thing. I know it's like the worst part of watching somebody make something. I hear ya. Okay. If I would remember to put my pin back in. I'm doing that. There. Okay, so I'm just lining this up. Like so. And there's the mat for your belly band. Okay. Now in my little girl book, I showed you that I made this tag. And I made another one of those, and I'll show you how I did that. So this is the tag that goes in with the belly band, and it's the Heartfelt Creations album tags and accents from Country Craft Creations. So there's a layered tag in here, which is super, super nice. So I just use my die cutter, and you cut out the solid cardstock, and then the smaller die cuts your mat, and then I just matted it on white on the back, and so that's just gonna slip right inside of that belly band. I had to cut the tag down, like I mentioned in my other video. I cut this tag down. So whatever size you're making, you will have to cut it down, and I chose not to round the corners on this, but you can do that if you want to. Okay, so we have page 1 and page 2 completed. Page 3, let's see, what do we got going on? Page 3 is the solid mat, the photo mat with a magnet using a cut apart, and then a tag in the pocket here. Ooh, so we have to remember, and I do have the tab for this, so don't forget anything. Okay, let me grab all the stuff for this page. Okay. There's our magnet, here's our tab, here's our cut apart, and all this stuff. Okay, hold on. We'll do this later. We don't need that. Okay, so this is, that's for the other part, the other side. This is just a regular 5.5 by 5.5 page. There's no extra pocket on this one. I just left it plain with the 1/2 inch tab for gluing to the spine. So page 3 is a piece of solid cardstock that measures 6 by 5.5. And you're gonna score at 1/2 inch on the left-hand side. Okay? And then this will be easy. Oh, let me fold that score line so we have our fold for our page. Okay, so here's our hinge that's going to glue down to the spine, and then this mat we're just going to put like this on here. Okay, so the dimensions, the white mat is 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. And the solid cardstock, I'm sorry, the white mat is 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. The pattern paper is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, sorry about that. So let's just glue this down to our page. You guys, I live in Minnesota and it is snowing here and blowing, and we've been in a winter storm warning since yesterday, and the snow and the blowing and all the things aren't supposed to stop until like 9 p.m. this evening. This one going on for 2 days. We like winter here because we like to ice fish, so I'm not complaining. Except for I don't like the wind. I'm so tired of the wind. That's getting old. So, but it gives me time to craft and make videos when the weather's yucky because I'm at home. So, okay, we're just gluing this down to our page. And again, this is page 3 we're starting on. There we are. So there's our page, first of all. Then we have the flap, which is this, oops, like this, with the magnet and the white mats and the tag. So to make the flap, here we go. You need a piece of solid cardstock. That's 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. And you're going to score it at 4 1/4 so that you can just fold it in half to make your photo mat. Okay, and then while you're cutting your mat for your cut apart, this is what I used as a 4 by 4 cut apart. You're going to need a white mat for the front, and you're going to need 2 more that are the same size for the inside. So cut 3 of these at 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. Then you're all done cutting. So cut 3 of those and then you're done. And then again, this is a 4 by 4 cut apart. Okay, again, there's going to be a magnet and a tab. So first of all, I have my tab here and I want that to go underneath this. Is that right? Is that how I did it last time? Yeah, I want it to go like this. So that's how I'm going to do it. So I've already matted my cut apart, so I'm going to glue my tab before I put this down, before I put this cut apart on my flap. Okay, so just some glue here. And I'm going to turn it upside down. And I am eyeballing again. Making sure that looks pretty good, I think. Okay, and just gluing this down. And we have our tab. Oh, the tabs. I have a tab punch. I mentioned this in my walkthrough video in the other one with a girl album. The tab punch, and then I use my brother's Scan and Cut to cut out the mats for the tabs, which is slick. Very slick. Okay, so why don't I have an X in here for my magnet? Because the magnet's going to go like on this side before we mat the white. Okay, so let's do this first. One thing at a time. Okay, so let's mat the front. Get some extra on that tab piece. Put the pin in the glue. And down we go. Okay. Oops, there it is. Sorry. Just burnishing here where that tab is. Okay, so we have that part. And you'll have a little, you know, you'll see a little gap here, but who is gonna notice? Who? Only you. And we don't count. Just kidding. Okay, so we need a magnet closure. So I'm going to, before we put our white mat down, add the magnet. Oh, these little backing things. Sometimes they come off so nice, and then other times, these backs, then you just pick. Grr. Right? Is there a magic trick? Maybe the little pokey tool that I don't have with me. So I'm just kind of putting this so it's not going to hinder my paper on either side. Pressing it down. Take off this back and close it. And pressing it down so it catches on your other side. And open back up. And again with the score tape. See, now I'm going this way. Tricky. And on this magnet. Okay, now we have our white photo mats for the inside. I'm just dry fitting because I am making sure that these are the right size, are they? Yeah, it's gonna go close to the top, but that's okay. Okay, so don't forget to take the backing off your score tape before you glue. And then I learned this trick. This is a great trick from another YouTuber, Tiffany. Let's Get Scrappy. She's got so many good ideas. That when you're making just plain white photo mats, so that you don't get all this gloppy glue in the middle of your mat, you know, and you see all the squiggly marks from your glue, just do the outside edges and it works so nice. Thank you, Tiffany. So we're just matting this like so. And we just have glue on the edges and where the score tape is. And there's our first mat. And then the second one. I should have dry fit that. I did not, but it'll be fine. Oh, this glue bottle. Okay. I'm a messy gluer too. Okay, just on the edge. And then matting here. Okay. And I have a little glue coming out. That's why we have fingernails and paper towels or baby wipes. Some people use baby wipes. I just grab a paper towel because it's convenient. Okay, there's that. So we have our mat, photo mat. And now we're going to glue it to the pocket. So, or I'm sorry, to the page. And make a pocket. So we are putting it so that the tab is, you know, right towards the bottom, and then leaving enough room so that your tag isn't sticking out too far from the top of the album when you close it. So that's just how I decided to do it. So I'm going to dry fit. Let me put this up like this to make it easier so it's flat. So we're going to go about like here. So it looks like that. And we're only gluing on 3 sides. Here, here, and the bottom. So that our tag can slip in there. So glue like so. Okay. And then again, I'm just eyeballing the center and kind of where I want it to sit at the bottom, about right there. Does that look good? I think so. Yeah, and then just glue it down. So I'm going to open this up so that we can burnish that inside. So it glues down nicely. Okay, look at, ta-da, cute. There's your page. And then the tag that goes inside, I already made one because I wanted to save some time. So this is gonna slip in here like so. Super cute. Okay, so the tag is 2.5 by 4 1/8, and I just made my own tag out of solid cardstock. I cut the cardstock 2.5 by 4 1/8, rounded the corners, and then added the mat, and the mat is 2 3/8 by 4. I used my punch, what's that, crocodile punch for the hole. I just used a white mat on the back and then some ribbon from my stash that I added to the top. See the little ribbon? Okay, and then that just goes in here. Now when I'm working with these pages, a lot of times these extra embellishments, I'll leave them out because I'm going to flip this over and work on this side of the page now, and it's, to me, it's a hindrance. So I'm taking this out until we get finished with the with page 4, and then I'm going to stop, I believe, for now. So we have page 1, page 2, page 3, and now is page 4, the opposite side of page 3. And this is just going to be, I'm working with my glue bottle here again so it doesn't get all icky on me. I need a second, just a second, to get some of this goo off the top and make sure it's not all getting dried out on me. So it works a few more times before we have to say goodbye for right now. Okay, so page 4 is going to be just a solid mat with a pocket on the bottom here, and this is just a cut apart. I don't have the cut apart to show you in the tutorial, but this is just a 4x4 cut apart down here. So let's make that. So I have already matted mine. So the white mat for page 4 is 5 3/8 by 5 3/8, and the solid card, I say that all the time, I'm sorry. The pattern paper is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. So once you get going with your pages and you're making full mats, you're going to get the hang of all these dimensions because some of them are going to be the same as the others. So this is just going to go here. This is a very simple page. So we're just gluing this mat to the page. I might have to get a new glue bottle before I do part 2. Okay, and then just gluing this down. There was a piece of glitter. I saw another piece of glitter. Oh, I tried to get it all off before, but I missed a few. Okay. I'm just gluing that down. And now we just have a tiny, simple pocket for the bottom because my idea for this album, again, was to use up the scraps. So, but I did double mat this one. I didn't in the other one. So let me tell you the size. So the solid cardstock for the pocket is 1 1/4 by 5 3/8. The white mat is 1 1/8 by 5 1/4, and the pattern paper, I got it right this time, is 1 inch by 5 1/8. So this, if you use this paper, you'll notice there's a little strip of these diaper pins in there, so that's why I was using this strip for a pocket piece, and because it's working out really well. And then again, I'll put a cut apart in here just to fill it up. So we're making the pocket, we're just gluing it to the bottom of this page, and just so gluing on 3 sides. I didn't make the gusset pocket this time, and that's okay because this works just fine. So I'm going to, can you see me? Can you see me? Okay, just glue this, and the pocket is going to, again, right at the edge of your white mat, right here. And then down onto the bottom of your page, not quite, because you got to give some room for glue, something for it to grab to. And I'm really pressing this down good. And over here. So we're going to pick this up and do our little finger pinching method with the gluing because that works well for me. Okay, and there we have our pocket. Ta-da! That was an easy page, easy. So I'll put a cut apart in there, probably a 4x4 cut apart, just like I did with the girl album. Like so, like this one here is just matted. Okay, so that's gonna be it for today, because man, we're getting long. Okay, so we have pages 1 through 4 have been cut and decorated. In the next video, obviously, we're going to continue on with pages 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we'll see how it goes, because we got to do some stuff with the spine and the inside. So again, I don't know. This is my second tutorial, so I'm trying to not keep it forever and ever. But anyway, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. There will be a second part to this tutorial, so keep an eye out for that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I would appreciate that, for more crafty ideas and hopefully more tutorials. And thank you for watching.